Hello, everyone. Welcome to TGM The Insight Hour, the podcast series that takes you on the journey of insights and discovery. Today, I'm your host, and I'm very happy to welcome our special guest from MakeYourAsia company, Mr. Łukasz Jankowski.
Hi there, nice to meet you here today.
Can you please give a short introduction about yourself?
Yeah, so my name is Łukasz. I work at MakeYourAsia. I'm a travel manager, working mainly with incentive market, but individual travelers as well. We create custom-made itineraries, so tailor-made trips through the Southeast Asia. 7 to 10 countries, depends how we look at it as our region, but we are based in Southeast Asia. We have our offices here, and we try to show Asia as we see it through our eyes.
That's great. The reasons we have Łukasz here is because today is a special occasions that we launch our global travel survey that deep dive into the world of travels. So we conducted this survey in 21 countries across different regions. So the first question I would like to ask you is that, according to our surveys, 69% of respondents expressed the intentions to embark on a journey of leisure travel within the next 12 months. And notably, 17% of them expressed their interest in experience the culture and history of those countries, especially in Asia. So when it comes to cultural travel, do you have any experience or advice for people when exploring the culture in Asia?
Yeah, I mean, certainly there's a lot of takes on what the culture travel is, because some people will be very much focused on visiting local places, trying to get to know people who live in the area, connect with families, with the people who are from smaller places in a sort of slow travel mode on, let's say. So you go to homestay, off the beaten path places, and you simply try to connect with people, spend time, try to understand place, the traditions behind it. So I'd say that's one take on the cultural travel. Another one is you can follow the super famous World Heritage places, as Angkor Wat, for instance, and then you hop on the plane, go to Indonesia, see Borobudur Temple, and the super famous, super interesting places that everyone wants to see, because that's the goal for lots of people as well, to see places that are culturally important, that are famous, and that's another take on it. And then you also have a bunch of travelers who would be trying to merge those approaches into one, perhaps not really spending a week in a village somewhere trying to connect with locals, but mixing the highlights and local places in it. You also get lots of religious monuments, sites, and traditions to come with it when we talk about cultural travel. So there's really a lot in this basket that you can take.
So you mentioned about slow travel, slow tourism. So recently it has been a trend. Could you please share more information about what really slow travel is?
Yeah, so I mean, people these days, everyone lives pretty fast-paced life, or most of the people do. So, I mean, if I ask yourself, would you prefer go on a extensive city break, or rather spend time somewhere in a quiet? What would be your answer to this?
I would be a quiet place, like peaceful place where I can just relax and doing whatever I want.
Yeah, I think that's the point for why the slow travel becomes so much more popular recently, because everyone's busy with their jobs, daily life, so we want to sort of disconnect from it for a bit. Not always switching off the phones, but just not having to rush from one place to another. So there's like Asia offers amazing opportunities for this, because while sort of staying connected or close by to infrastructure and civilization, you can be totally surrounded by jungle or nature, mountains, and there's really lots and lots of places Asia has to offer.
Speaking of Asian countries, and especially this occasions now is the summer, people would like express their interest in going to the beach. So which country in Asia would you recommend them to travel this year?
Yes. So this year is a thing we always like have to explain to everyone visiting, because like our region is very vast and diverse, the climate's very different. So this year, like places to go in the summertime are different to the places we would go in the winter time. And I'm talking from the point of Northern Hemisphere view, because like if you ask people from Australia, for like summer, winter is different for them, yeah. So I'd say like what's considered maybe globally as summer, so June, August, it's a great time to travel to Indonesia, like world famous islands, Bali, yes, good. Good guess, good answer. Then you may travel to other, like let's say you can even go like to Korean islands. You can go to central Vietnam coast, which is great. You can go to the eastern coast of Sri Lanka. There's lots of places, but obviously months and the weather changes a lot. So in the winter time, for instance, I wouldn't go to Bali. Yeah, I would choose Cambodia, Thailand, and Vietnam as the destinations. I brought Bali twice because this is, I think, great example from my own experience. My first 3 visits to the island were in January and February, where it tends to rain a lot. So I got nothing of the Paradise Island vibes, because it was just rain all day long, and it never looks as nice in the rain. So it took me a couple of visits to understand what's so great about the destination. And similarly, if you travel, like lots of people consider Vietnam as very tropical, exotic destination. And again, if you choose to travel to Hanoi, Halong Bay in January or February, you may end up shivering out of cold and windy, cold weather, no sunshine. So yeah, you always have to ask I always recommend to ask the local travel experts, because quick search on Google might get you in a wrong place in a wrong time if it's a quick search.
I see. So food is also part of a culture of a country. So among Asian countries, which food cuisines that most impress you?
To me personally, it's Vietnamese cuisine for its diversity. I do love Thai cuisine as well. I think it's one of the world. I mean, globally as one of the as one of the best worldwide. But for me personally, Vietnamese cuisine offers more variety, which I appreciate a lot. But yeah, Thai cuisine is one of the next next ones.
So what is the best way to explore the food cuisines when traveling in Asian countries?
Well, I'd say eating as much as you can.
As a single traveler.
Sure.
Like how would you search? How would you advise people when searching for places to eat?
So there's different approaches. Obviously, you can consult the internet. Like online resources. Plenty of great food reviews on YouTube and other platforms, so you can look up at those. you can your travel agent, if you're using one, they would normally recommend you great places. Then you have once you arrive at the location, there's another array of options, ranging like from asking locals, like ask the reception staff at your hotel, but tell them perhaps not to recommend the most. Just ask them for a nice local place with great cuisine, because that will be perhaps the nicest option for you. Like, at first, the hotel staff may send you to the tourist excellent restaurant, but more touristy. But you rather be going to the one that is maybe a bit more off the radar, where locals go and dine. And it is good to follow locals, but sometimes it's a bit tricky. If no one speaks the language and you just get some random food, it's tricky if you have allergies and so on. So you always have to take that into consideration as well, because many people tell you just go where the locals eat. But if you have allergies, if you're specific on not eating certain food items, then you better do your own research more extensively.
Yeah, this is also part of my way of researching for places to eat when I travel, because I usually plan my trip by myself. When it comes to Asia, it's also famous for its different nature destinations. So do you have any recommendations for nature destinations in Asia that people should check it out for the summer?
Oh, sure, yes. There's plenty of those, and it's amazing. Every country has something unique to offer. You can go to Philippines and have the most perfect beach, find the most perfect beach spots, the strips of white sand, karst formations with underground rivers and so on. That's simply amazing. Or diving and snorkeling, that's out of this world. But the same goes actually for east of Indonesia. That's for diving and snorkeling, some of the best spots worldwide in the Philippines and Indonesia. You also have the places around the Borneo Island for those water activities. Then we were chatting a bit about the families. So kids always love watching animals, and there's lots of national parks. I would particularly name Sri Lanka for this. There's amazing national parks and great and lots of opportunities to spot these animals, basically. Or really nice places in Thailand where you can interact with the elephants. However, that's also a bit of controversy because you have to know how to choose the spots. Some are actual sanctuaries for the animals that have been abandoned by the owners, and the places genuinely take care of them for their well-being, while there will be so-called sanctuaries that are basically businesses run, meant for money. Yeah, there will be elephants. You will go and interact with them, but the whole point of running such place is to make money. So that's one of the challenges or things that needs deeper research when we talk about visiting, because it after all it is nature, it is interacting with animals, but something you should be really aware of, riding the elephants and so on. So that's as MakeYourAsia, we always we do not recommend these activities, or we only choose the ones that are within national parks, and we know the animal well-being is taken as a priority. So that's also important to know or consider when we talk about nature and sites. Then because I've mentioned diving, snorkeling, and there's also if you go to central Vietnam, around in the Phong Nha National Park. There's the world's largest caves that are simply amazing, astonishing anyone that's visiting them. You can go to the Malaysian Borneo or Indonesian part of Borneo and see tropical rainforest in its like if still original shape, and be amazed. You can like set off on a night walk when all the insects and all the creatures crawl out of the hiding spots into the jungle, and you just try to navigate among them. That's some of the great activities you can do in the nature.
Speaking of Asian countries, it is also famous for its traditions. Like, do you have any tips or notes or suggestions for travelers first time traveling to Asian countries, like depending on different countries in Asia?
Yeah, absolutely. If you travel to Asia for the first time and you're coming from outside the region, you may feel like you're in another part of the world, which obviously is true, but the traditions will be very important to know some of them, to understand them, so to make your experience nicer, to not not offend anyone, because that's certainly something we want to avoid. Just being considerate, even if you don't know. So like my tips for this is like do brief research on things not to do in a specific country. There will be again lots of resources online. If you just type in Google like what not to do in, I don't know, Malaysia, right, and so on, you will get some lists. So it takes you a few minutes and you get some ideas already. But basically there's lots of traditions coming like from history, traditions passed on. Lots of nations and countries in Asia still are using. So we don't want to break those traditions. We don't want to interfere with them. We should respect the tradition, because as a visitors, we should just be respectful. So you like, so even as simple things as taking off shoes before entering a house, or sometimes even a business, because like sometimes before entering a shop in Asian countries, you're expected to take off your shoes. This is like something mind-blowing for some of the Western tourists, because they would not take off shoes before entering their own houses, but here they have to do it even before going into a shop. So that seems very odd to some people, but like if everyone else does it, we should also respect that tradition. There is a lot of especially while we travel and visit historical or cultural sites, we should be very considerate about clothing. So if we visit a palace, pagoda, a mosque, there are certain ways of dressing, and this is, in most of these places, it is being controlled by people at the entrance. However, it may happen that no one is there to tell you, but we shouldn't go like, with short crop tops, revealing our shoulders, very short shorts into the temples. That's the number one rule. We shouldn't be behaving loud or taking pictures up close of people who are at the ceremonies at the temples. So clothing is for sure important. Also taking off shoes at those places, that's again like something very surprising for people. We at MakeYourAsia, we always we send our guests all the information, or even have like small guidebooks on the locations visited, or like what you should and shouldn't do. Respect traditions and know what to expect.
that's interesting. Asian countries always has rich cultures, destinations, and different traditions. And thank you for just sharing today and spending time with us for the first podcast of the TGM Inside Hour. So thank you, and looking forward to more sharing our travels in the next series.
Thank you for inviting me, and we look for seeing more of people traveling to the Asia, because it's amazing region to discover, and yeah, we'll be happy to help with any queries if people have them. So thanks.
Thank you.